Well, last episode you followed along as we rebuilt the front suspension, worked on the rear brake lines over the axle, tore down all the brakes, found out that there were no brakes installed in the back for at least a little bit, and then we reinstalled new brakes and didn't kill ourselves with pulling the springs. It's always a plus. This time, the first thing that we're going to work on is installing the sway bar with brand new end links, and because I couldn't find any that fit, 3D printed bushings between the sway bar and the frame. We're at least going to try them. They might work, they might not. It's an experiment, but pretty low risk. So if it doesn't work out, we can always print more, or we can figure that out at a later date. Here are the bushings that I came up with. Printed first one. This is a TPU material. So it's a flexible filament, kind of rubbery. This one feels a lot like polyurethane. So it's a little bit stiffer than a rubber bushing would be. This was the first one. Made some changes after trying it and came up with these. They printed pretty nice, even on my older 3D printers. And so this is what we're going to run with. You can see they're still flexible, but not super soft. Like I said, close to polyurethane. So that's what we're going to run with, and get those installed. That still moves nice and free. Doesn't take much force at all, and it's actually really smooth with those grease bushings. So now we get time to work on the end links. Well, these are semi-tight. Hopefully when it gets on the ground, we can actually get to these and we can finish tightening them up, because they're still kind of at a little bit of an angle and we don't want them binding. But for now, these are also installed, so that's one more thing that we can cross off our checklist, and basically the front suspension's done. So we finally accomplished something. Yay! Well, right now we are going to work on preparing for installing a new fuel system by taking apart the dash. It really does make sense. We're going to run a new wire from the fuel sending unit. We're putting a new one of those in because it was somewhere with the tank, just who knows where. It didn't come with the car. So got a new tank, got a new fuel sending unit, and now we need to replace the wire going to the fuel gauge. This fuel gauge also looks like it was in the flood, so we need to figure out if we need to get a new fuel gauge or if this one works or exactly what's going on. So it does kind of make sense. because I don't want to install the tank until we can install the new wire for the fuel sending unit, which is related to the fuel gauge. It's a roundabout way, but needs done. I have no idea how to take this dash apart, so this is going to be a learning experience for all of us. Alright, well, we got the panel out. Now just got to figure out. So one of the other things that is also bad is the temp gauge. It is also super rusty. I have at least 2 dashes. I have no idea which one is original this car and which one's not. The other one is covered in dirt like it was in the flood, but it may have just been sitting in a box in the flood. I really don't know. But this one is most certainly rusty. At least the fuel and temp gauges are. The speedo, should it work, it actually looks pretty good. But I think I've even got another one of those, so I have really no idea what is going on with this, but we're going to see what we can find out. And we're going to get old-ass insulation that may or may not have had the start of a mouse house in it. Out. If you want to know exactly when the change one wire for the fuel gauge sending unit project went completely off the rails, it's now. So, separated out the wire, which is like 25 feet long, by the way. Got it all the way up to the dash, and it goes behind part of the heater box, and is still in that stupid string woven loom that is like the worst thing ever imaginable. Bunch of the heater hoses are, well, again, can't really call them a hose because most of them is gone. But what used to be a heater hose, those are not doing so hot. And then when I was working on the dash, pulling out the instrument cluster, several more wires that aren't connected to something that apparently should be fell out. No idea where they go. And another wire that was originally, I'm assuming, had a connector on it. It also fell out, along with a bunch of dirt that I've vacuumed some of it up, and sand, and then 2 mud dauber nests. So, all that being, taken into account, the only logical thing, at least according to my script, is to pull the dash. I really don't like this script. Whoever wrote it really should be fired. I'd like to point the finger at someone, but first of all, there is no script, and second of all, it's still just me. If there was a script, I would have gone off that shit a long time ago. But we're not pulling the dash, because that's what I really wanted to do. No. So I'm going to take a bunch of pictures of where all the wires connect to the instrument cluster, in the hopes that I can either put them back or what's becoming more and more likely is just rewiring the entire car, because why not? I'm already pulling a dash, it's only logical. Pull the dash, rewire the entire car for just the back wiring. Probably makes sense to someone. And I'm just an idiot, so I'm doing it anyways. Probably. But we're going to start with the dash. Like I said, I'm going to take a bunch of pictures, try and figure out where everything goes, or was supposed to go. And, yeah. Yay me. No, that's terrible. I really should write a script. Maybe then I'd actually follow it. Well, hopefully this is when we actually get video of the dash coming out. A whole lot of work later. you can see there's nothing left in the dash. Yeah, it's hopefully ready for removal. We're about to find out. It is actually kind of wobbly, which is a good sign. That's more than what it was a little bit ago. And you can see the extent of stuff I had to get undone. There's a bird's nest of wires underneath here. Steering wheel had to come out. All this stuff is disconnected. Some of it I don't even know what it goes to. Tried to label as much as I could. But hopefully we're going to get this out and we can keep moving forward on removing a couple of wires. Because this really got a hand real quick. So, without further ado, let's see if this thing actually comes out. I have my doubts. Oh, we might be onto something here, folks. Hopefully this guy's not in the way. I hope. Probably is. Because, of course. It's stuck. Why are you stuck? Don't know what that was. We are real tight on something over here. What are we so tight on? Clearly that piece of insulation. No. I actually don't know. How? Those come undone? You don't understand. Uh-oh. This went wrong. Well, it's trying to go wrong. Oh. Well, the dash is now removed. It got a little hairy there. But look at all the room for activities that we have. So much room for activities. Remember, this all started because I wanted to start with replacing just a single wire for the fuel sending unit. That escalated really quickly. It really got a hand. Should probably lay low for a little bit. But it's out. We can get to the wiring. We can get to all the stuff behind the dash that not only do we need to clean, but we also need to remove. All the old insulation, sound deadening mat stuff, whatever that is, I have no idea. Nastiness. And yeah, good time to fix the dash too, because there's a dent in it. So we'll probably sand the dash, completely repaint it, get it looking really, really good before it comes back in. That'll also give us the time to just, like I said, clean all that. It's so terrible. This wasn't originally in the plan of get this on the road, but it kind of is what it is. So now we're just gonna deal with it. As far as this episode is concerned, that's probably all the interior and wiring work that we're gonna get done. This was actually a very large project. I don't, even a time lapse sped up like 10 times, it still would be like a 5-hour episode. It took a really long time. There's like half a roll of green tape marking all this. So we're just going to kind of call it out for now. And instead, we are going to do what I was wanting to do in the first place, which was install a fuel tank. So you are going to see that on this episode, and that is coming next. We're at the back of the car, so that means, like I said, we're installing a new fuel tank. Probably way more excited about this than I should be, given that it's not going to make the car run and drive or anything even remotely close. The drums aren't back from being resurfaced because my neighbor's out of town. The engine's over there, the transmission's over there, drive shaft's over there. It's kind of like the Scarecrow and the Wizard of Oz. There's parts of it everywhere. But it's always one of those milestones for me that's like, hey, we're installing a gas tank. It's kind of a big deal. Adam's here, which not only means that I have help, but it'll also be a welcome change, not dropping and then reinstalling a gas tank that's half full of fuel. It's going to be completely empty, so it's kind of a nice touch. First thing we're going to do is install the fuel tank sending unit. No, the wire's not run yet. It's still up there. Things happened. It's a sore subject. But we're gonna start with that, then get the tank in and see how far we go. All right. So first step, like I said, is installing the fuel tank sending unit.
And it's in. Perfect fit. First time.
Totally. It still doesn't fit. There we go. Got it.
Still fits. Perfect. Here you go.
Yeah, this is not at all centered.
Centered adjacent.
All right, so of course these aren't long enough.
All right, we'll be right back.
Okay, I got bigger ones. All right, those don't fit. This is going great.
So what are you
All right, so we've got that in there. Finally got the sending unit in. Got the cork gasket. We got the lock ring. Now we just need to get the lock ring to actually be in place, which is slightly harder to do because it doesn't line up. That went smooth. So yeah, that went exactly like it was supposed to. Just nice and easy on there. Everything twisted. No hammers involved or punches or chisels or any of that. It was just flawless. It's off to a great start. All right, so let's try and actually put the tank in.
All right. Thanks for coming back. You're going to watch us struggle with the gas tank. Just kidding. It's going to go in the first time with no problem. Joke's on me. You can't hear me.
So in a shocking twist, that actually lines up. I mean, I don't know why it wouldn't, but it is this car. Cool. Oh, wait. Need more. Probably should use that guy. Maybe that one would have fit better. That was the one that came with the tank. This box. Not that box. Fuel. This box. Yup. Over here. Do the others?
No. That's why I didn't want to do it.
Hit. Look, there we go. Nope, didn't get it. Fucking hell. How's this not fit? It's not on fire, so we're good there. This doesn't look wrong at all. Now the moment of truth. Sure, I'm not going to melt anything.
Fixed it.
Who got grease all over this? And boom.
Hey, that was the first time.
Totally. No grinding, cutting involved. Shouldn't be able to if it wasn't closing. Boom. Woo! Go us. Plan worked. Well, after what might be the world's longest gas cap install, record pending, we're going to call it for this episode. It's been a little bit all over the place, so sorry about that, but that's just kind of car projects. Sometimes everything goes as planned, most of the time they don't, and in some cases they just completely go off the rails, like when you're trying to replace a fuel sending unit wire and have to pull the dash. Obviously, this is one of those times where it just completely went off the rails. But if you stuck along this long, you're awesome, and thanks for watching. If you want to keep following along, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any other episodes. And if you want to know more about this car, there's a bunch of other episodes in the playlist, including the very first one where I go over the pretty awesome backstory to this particular car and how I ended up with it. Like I said, thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you all later.
Crossing shit off the list. Oh, hold on.
Actually, just...
See, look at that. Boom. Crossed a thing off the list.
Well, it says fuel system, so, we're just going to ignore that.
But it's part of it.
It is.